Hello, I'm Dani Louise Smith, the Queen of Business Organisation, and you're joining me today with Jenny from Blue Raspberry Box. And I'm really looking forward to this talk because it's something that you'll be used to me banging on about. So I've got someone else who's going to come and bang on about time management with you today. So we're going to be talking about making the best use of your time, getting your highest priorities done with Jenny's papers method, and how to make planning fun and not overwhelming, which is really good because it just lights me up that you can come and listen to this episode and be sent away with some ideas of how you can actually apply planning into your business in a way that works for you. So, Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners, who you are and what you do?
Hey, yeah, so thanks for having me on here. I'm Jeni Machon, a social media manager and founder of Blue Raspberry Box, stationery and self-care for female business owners. So I started a subscription box because I've obviously used stationery my whole life. I would get post-it notes and a green mark and a blue mark and just draw pictures of the planet. So I don't know how many post-it notes I used. I could have used paper. But I think the sticky notes were just more fun. And then when I started actually using the stationery I use in the boxes, I got more motivated and excited about my business. And she's gonna be okay. Okay, I'm also a dog mum. Amelia's on my lap. Hopefully she will just sleep and stay quiet for this.
Oh, bless her.
So yeah. The social media part is relatively new. That was I qualified a couple of months ago, and that was just the right course landing at the right time and everything, like the universe putting everything in alignment, and it just all happened together. And it does work. Like the papers method still applies if you're planning your week and social media. So, okay.
So with when it comes to work, because you work with a lot of business owners with your subscription box and helping people, I guess, be more organized like I do, but you actually give them physical things they can use, and obviously social media management helps people massively as well. But I think when we're handing over to someone to do our social media management, we have to have a plan, don't we? So what do you find are the biggest challenges with managing time for most business owners?
Not prioritizing the most important tasks, doing the fun, easy tasks, and it's
Yeah.
those difficult things that you're procrastinating over, and trying to find out why are you procrastinating on it? Why aren't you doing it?
That's so true, isn't it? Like, I think this is a massive issue, and sometimes people know they do it, but they don't really know how to overcome it and do something about it. So I'd love to hear about your method actually. So the papers method, how does that work?
The papers is priorities, allocate, to plan, efficient, review, and schedule, because you need some type of plan. You can't just wing it. So for me, it starts on usually on a Friday afternoon. I just brainstorm everything I need to do in the week and look back at what I didn't do this week. I circle it in my planner and then prioritize the most important tasks. So if you know what your top priorities are, even if they're not like the big tasks, they're the high priorities for that week, then you can allocate a day, which is the A. And it's not about doing the most important tasks the first thing of the day. It's about working with your energy and when you'll be able to do it distraction free,
Yeah.
and sort of mixing in fun tasks with the higher tasks to make them more enjoyable. Like if you can mix it up, or if you do a high priority task and then something that you'll enjoy afterwards. If it's like you reward yourself with taking a 10-minute break or having a drink, or if you reward yourself with like going on Canva and messing around with some graphics. The second P is plan, because once you know what you need to do and what day and time will work, then you can make a type of plan for when you'll actually be doing it. If it's like time blocked in a paper planner or on Google Calendar, sort of know what you're going to be doing like the next day. It helps your brain feel calmer and more relaxed about what you'll be doing. So you wake up and you know what you'll be doing. So I almost like duplicate what's in my planner onto a to-do list to keep me focused. And I've also started using like a Trello board as like a backup to-do list just to make sure I do focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. And then when you have a good plan that works for you, you'll be able to make the most efficient use of your time. And I feel a lot of people do forget this, but you need to review your week before you start planning the next week.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I know you do the questions of like what went well this week, what didn't, what can I do better next week. So you do need to do that before you start like jumping ahead and just start planning the following week. And then plan in the time to actually schedule your planner, which is the schedule. So you also need to plan in the time to review your plan. And it's like the same goes for your social media, because you need to plan what you'll be talking about. Plan when you're going to be planning what you'll be talking about. Plan the time for content creation and for scheduling. Each uses like a different part of your brain. And then you still need to review your Instagram and your insights and everything.
I think there's a lot to do, isn't there, when we're managing a business? So having a method like this, and I love an acronym, by the way, so I do like that. I love what it stands for. With having so much to do, just remembering that and having I guess you've created a simple framework that we can follow, which I love. Anything that's creates simplicity, absolutely. Which I think is really something to remember. So while you listen to this, I think take note of Jenny's papers method, because this could be the thing that helps you what you need to do on a weekly basis within your business, obviously as part of your planning as well. I love that. So if we started giving this a go, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, I love the sound of that, I'll give that a go. And they do try new things, but they get quite bored or they feel quite restricted. And so then they just stop. And I mean, it takes 3 weeks to form a habit anyway, doesn't it? And people stop and they just don't stay consistent with it. So we need to make it a little bit more fun so it's not as overwhelming to do. How would you recommend that we make planning fun so that we're more enticed to do it? And so that, I mean, you kind of mentioned a little bit there, like with rewarding yourself and between tasks and things. But how else can we make it fun instead of being very overwhelming with the structure that we're creating?
Highlighters are good. Using highlighters for all the different tasks in your planner and like changing up the colors as well. Just adds color to your planner and it makes it just more interesting, more fun. And one thing I do quite a lot, because I do have quite a bit of stationery, is use like different notepads and list pads, different ones with different designs, just to change it up. So like currently I'm using this Don't Forget one, which has been really useful. But if that like stops getting my attention, I'll get one with a different design on.
That's like the best advice for a stationery addict as well, because they're like, that's an excuse to get all of the stationery so I can switch it up. What
Yeah.
kind of so you have a subscription box. Let's talk a little bit about that. What kind of things do you have inside your subscription box? If because obviously these will help with using the papers method and being organized with your time management. What kind of stationery do you have in there in Blue Raspberry Box?
There's always different items, and I try not to repeat the same items too quickly, too often. But there's the sticky notes, desk pads, list pads. I grabbed some if you want to see. They're like mini sticky notes, which are slightly smaller, but they're just more interesting than plain sticky notes.
Yeah.
Um, weekly planners, desk pads, notebooks. Occasionally there's like a pen because that actually helps you use the stationery. And there's always like a little self-care item so you're not just working. So like there's been candles and face masks and coloring books. And I want to ask my dog what else there is, but she won't answer. I did crystals as well. There's been crystals because I think like a lot of business owners are sort of into crystals and that universe alignment.
Yeah. They really are, aren't they? Like, I love that you combine it with a bit of self-care as well. It makes it that little bit different. It's a reminder to ourselves to actually take time to look after ourselves. And I guess if we are overwhelmed with the planning and the doing of the business, which we're using all this beautiful stationery for, there is that reminder there to do something for ourselves. I mean, I've actually got a wax melt burning now because it's just nice, isn't it, to have like that scent that lifts you up while you're working and while you're doing your planning. And I love how colourful all your stationery is in your boxes as well. Obviously, I'm like queen of colourful as well as the queen of business organisation. I think everyone knows me for my colour. I love that. So if we want to come and connect with you, so we've talked about the subscription box, but you also do social media management. Some people might not know what that is. So what kind of services could you offer if we did want to outsource management of our social media?
For the social media management, there's the done for you packages, which is creating your Instagram strategy, content creation, the graphics, captions, scheduling and reviewing your content. So it's pretty much taking your ideas and
Yeah.
turning it into a big plan and doing all the creation and everything for you. There's also Instagram AR filters, which are the things on your head and you touch the screen and it does something, which I
They're
actually,
really, really cool, aren't they? I didn't know what they were until I met Jenny. I mean, I've seen them, but I didn't know you could create them like you have, and I didn't know that they were like a thing people could do. So I love that. Like, if you check out Jenny's Instagram, you can see her own filters that she's created, and they are really cool, aren't they?
yeah. I taught myself how to make the first one last summer. Then I'm offering Instagram audits, and there are some more things coming soon, but I need to like plan them out properly.
Yeah, as I know you do, because you use your own papers method. I love that. If someone wants to check out what you do, check out your filters, your social media management, or the Blue Raspberry Box, where can they come and connect with you?
Okay, the social media and the subscription box. There's also a stationery shop, which I'm adding more items into. That's under blueraspberrybox.co.uk. It's all kept under the same website. You can find me on Instagram at Blue Raspberry Box and my Facebook group. I have a free Facebook group.
Brilliant. We'll put all the links in the show notes for you. And my final question is, what would be your biggest tip for being organised within your business?
Can I get two?
Yeah, go on then.
Digital, name your files on like Canva and Google Drive. Definitely name your files because I've got some that are still untitled and it's
a nightmare, isn't it?
and a paper one. Use highlighters. Use the highlighters you have, like if it's neon or pastel, or get like a good mix and use that to highlight what your top priorities are for that day.
Yeah. Yeah, I
You,
can imagine that helps a lot.
yeah,
If you do a to-do list and then literally first thing is getting it all out, isn't it, really, out of your mind? Like I know meet so many business owners that they have a plan, but it's all in their head, or they have so much going on that they need to do and they don't write down. But if you first get it out of your head, then it makes it easier to look and think, right, okay, and we'll do your tip of get out the highlighter and choose what needs to be done now, what needs to be done first, and what's priority or most important, and highlight it, which makes it easier. And it just jumps out at you then, doesn't it? Which makes it a lot better to go and tackle. Thanks so much for appearing on the podcast today and sharing these tips with us and about what we can find in your box and ways we can use the papers method to help us. I'm hoping that this will help many people who struggle with planning in their business and their time management so that they can take something practical away that they can now go and do. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I will see you next time for another episode.
thank you for having me.